now.
Hi, this is Summer Todd's Mystery Show tonight. We have a guest joining us, and I'll let him introduce himself.
I'm Mark, and I'm with Dragus Productions. Well, I am Dragus Productions, and I have lots of different shows, and I've been doing radio and streaming. Well, radio for going on 18 years now, and streaming video probably about 5. So, doing the radio shows over on multiple platforms, and same with radio stations. We go out to internet stations, and we also go out to some terrestrial stations as well through them. So yeah, I've been doing radio for quite a while. Got a little bit about my history. All right, when I started out, I started out on a station called Para X, if anybody's heard of that. And the first show that I ever done there was called Paranormal Parodies, which was a show about making fun of paranormal creatures with classic creatures, where Bigfoot has an addiction to hot dogs, and the dog man, comes over the Mexican border to Canada to, supply him with his needs.
Oh.
Yeah, and things like that. They just skip the whole, United States and just go from Mexico straight into Canada. So, because, paranormal creatures can do stuff like that, all right? Later on,
or did you ever hear that one, Slender Man? Did he do
Slender Man? Oh, yeah, we've done topics about that on many of my shows. Well, I don't really do shows anymore. I have other people do shows for me.
Wow. Okay.
So I really hate hosting, but I hosted a show called Cafe Enigma for 10 years, which was my longest running and most successful show. And it was a history show that would take a clip from In Search of or Cosmos, and then a couple of one of the folks that's here with us tonight, David Campione, was a part of that. The original show. Yeah. He came in probably about halfway through it, and seen it to the end, and he's on the new the new show called the All New Cafe Enigma, where I'm no longer the host.
Oh, okay.
And neither am I.
No, but you're still a panelist, just like you were back then, and you still hold the same values and information, as well as conversations that are different from some of the others, because you come from the UFO side. But I've done all sorts of different shows. I've hosted shows about psychics. My first psychic show was called Quantum Alliance, and that was on Para X. And then that lasted for probably about 6 months until I'm like, I had enough of psychics, and
it can get old fast.
Yeah, well, there was too much infighting amongst them too at the time, and also I was getting ready to change stations.
Oh, okay.
So I went from that station to another station called Sepia. I worked for Sepia Radio, and I was the manager of that station for probably a good 3, maybe 4 years, something like that. And yeah.
Okay.
As well as hosted and did shows on there like Cafe Enigma. We had Christine Corda did Kiss Me, I'm Psychic. And I had Ghost Chat Radio I produced for the late Jason Stanton.
Cool.
And, yeah. So, I've done a lot of different things, but I've tried to keep away from the paranormal stuff, because once you start with paranormal, as if you're in radio or hosting it, it's hard to get unbranded from that. So,
Right.
and I've always done variety of radio shows. And don't do one thing. And I used to get I got so upset with it for a while. I actually stopped doing anything that had to do with paranormal, even producing it.
Well, yeah, I know there's a lot of people that don't believe in it. There's a lot of fighting. Like I noticed on the Facebook and stuff, if you get into a group, how toxic the groups can be. And it gets away from the subject matter.
It becomes a totally different conversation. Like you have skeptics that start fighting with people who believe in it, and then you have people who believe in it fighting among each other about stuff, and it becomes a clusterfuck.
Well, yeah. Well, on top of that, I mean, it's no different between the different other sides of paranormal. You got UFOs, cryptozoology, conspiracy. All right.
That's
and a lot of people don't think conspiracy is part of paranormal, but it really is, because there's everything is being suppressed, or smoke and mirrors for this, that, or the other, or my idea or my belief is the only one,
Right.
Yeah.
So, and you have that with,
it's like that in music too.
Like David and John, they're both UFO guys, but they have really different views about UFOs, so, but that's okay. I bring in, the shows that I have bring folks like that together so we can find like a common ground.
Yeah. Right. So in doing some of your shows, what's some of the most interesting things that you can think of, or maybe because I like paranormal, what's some of the scariest, or maybe something paranormal, I suppose?
Well,
that you can think of.
I would say the scariest thing that we have is my host Nancy Planetta, because when we work together, all right, we're like we really mesh great together. But she is very psychic, all right, and has tons of energy. But if we didn't know each other and work with each other, we would never be able to get on air, because she blows out light bulbs and knocks us off the internet.
Oh, that's really.
Oh yeah. It's and we can always say, oh yeah, that was Gary from NSA, but we really know that it was Nancy.
So she's a slider. Because I had a show, one of my shows. I don't know if you saw it, but it was about sliders and talking about my daughter and how she would do things like that.
Yeah.
And she had psychic dreams and stuff.
Yep. And Nancy, she has premonitions, and I think everybody has some. We all have abilities. All right.
Yeah.
It's how we use them and how we develop them. I know how to remote view. Before I even got into all this, I got into what's called geomancy. All right. Yeah, I don't know if you knew what geomancy is, but geomancy is dowsing, really, when it comes down to it, finding sacred and secular space.
Oh, okay.
All right. And because there's two different types of geomancy. But if you can do both, you're doing really good. And I can do a little bit of both. And I can use all the tools or none of the tools to make it work.
I'd be interested in learning how to remote view myself. So I mean,
there's books on it. Look up anything from the government, because the government will teach you how to do it. From their psychic program, and that's kind of how I got into it. But even though I knew from little up, I was taught how to find water with a stick. Grandfather taught me that. So
yeah.
And I'm originally from southwestern Pennsylvania, and the Amish and the Mennonite in those areas, they still do that, and it's they call it the witching stick, but it's not a bad thing. Go figure.
Right. Well, and people that are sliders or have psychic dreams and stuff, they used to be they wouldn't tell people because they were branded as witches. So
sure,
and
sure.
still are today.
Yep.
It's
depends on where you're at,
a lot of progression,
group you're in. Yep.
So yeah.
But don't worry. Once Elon puts those chips in our head, we will never have that again.
Well, that was something I had discussed on one of my shows too. Was just last week was the thumbprint that so many credit cards and things are trying to get you to do when you go online to pay their bills, and voice recognition. And how are they going to use that? Doesn't seem like there's much protection.
No, it's going to be like Gattaca. You go in there and you push your thumb down on there, and they take a blood sample, and they know exactly.
Yeah.
From the nanobites that they've had in your system ever since you took the jab. I'm sorry, I'm not allowed to say that.
What's really funny is like if your bank does something and you have to sign like 10 or 12 papers, but I'm supposed to go into a website with a corporation or company and pay my bill and just give them my fingerprint or give them my voice, which is very individual. So when we were talking about AIs, I mean, there's nothing that protects you. You're not signing anything. They don't give anything to sign that says, oh, we're not going to use this in an AI, or we're not going to use your thumbprint somewhere.
Or do they? You just don't read the fine print.
Well, they don't. No, well, it might be, but I'm sure it's not protecting you.
Oh no, it's that they don't care about protecting you. You know that. I've been over that with you before.
But you know how when new technology comes around, it's usually the consumer is not the one that's protected. It's the company or the corporation, and they can use it anyway to set it up. So.
Absolutely.
But now they're like, it's very easy. You're tired of forgetting your passwords, aren't you? So why don't you just like do this voice recognition and it'll be fine? Do you want to proceed?
Yeah. Let me scan your iris.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
with that laser beam that's going to go, probe your mind as well. That's not going to cause cancer.
Corporations do that to clock in now, right? I think corporations are doing that.
So now our thoughts aren't even private.
No.
They know what we're thinking.
So that's kind of creepy.
Yeah. They know what we're thinking. There's no hope at all for for privacy of any sort.
Right. I think it's things progress, and that's what happens. But we don't have things in place. I think we see in a lot of things with AIs, we don't have everything in place, but we're forging ahead. So I think that's going to be a disaster in many ways.
Of course.
It's a learning.
That's what they want because they already have the answers.
They need disaster. They need
disaster for people to give up more rights and
every time
like that. Because they already have a plan. Once you give that up, we can solve that problem. You have to just give this up.
Right.
Like the World Economic Forum, the leader there, you have no free will now. Free will is an illusion.
Yeah.
According to them. I'm like, get out of here. What are they smoking?
Klaus Schwab saying you will own nothing and you will be happy. Yeah. That's his plan for all of us.
Yeah. If you own nothing and be happy, you must be dead, right?
Yeah. That's probably what they want us to be, is dead, or if we can't be enslaved, be dead. That's our two options.
But you know what? It always starts with, because I'm old enough now, and you don't have to be very old to see it. Is it's always about your protection. Like, aren't you tired of forgetting your password? And now you can always use your voice. Yeah. You can always use your thumb. Although I remember when I was born, I didn't have a social security number till I went to kindergarten. But then they started telling people, well, you want to have, as soon as they're born, we want them to have, your babies to have a social security number.
Yeah.
It protects them. It's for your protection, blah, blah, blah. And then, then it started where as soon as you hit this earth, you have this number. You're assigned a number.
Yeah, that's your business number.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because the original Social Security numbers used to have your name with a capital for the beginning of your name and all the lowercase where it was supposed to be, but now it's all uppercase, just like a business would be, right?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, we're each of us is sold as a business. We're a commodity.
Well, and assigning you numbers is just like getting a tattoo or something.
Yeah.
Your number or
they're getting us conditioned for the mark.
Yeah. Oh no, the mark is I can't say it because I don't want you guys to get up.
Yeah. Roger can't hit a strike on his channel for using that word, so we know what you're saying, what you're referring to.
We know.
I've tried to warn people about that myself, but I can't use the term.
I think it's weird now. Like you're starting to see, you do scan everything.
What was that song AC/DC sang? Inject the venom or something like that. Oh, that's everybody understands now.
Yeah.
Gal wanted to ask, Galfire wanted to ask you, what about
and they have nanotechnology that it might
of course they do.
So it can be injected into someone's bloodstream.
Yeah.
So it's not far-fetched to believe, that would be the case with what we're talking about, but we can't say the word.
Yeah.
Anyways, we should probably get off this topic before we get in trouble. Anyways,
it'll just go downhill from here.
I can really keep it going and bring in my other guys who will definitely.
Oh, don't please.
Hey, Mark. Why don't you expound on J.C. Johnson, who you used to have on with crypto?
Oh yeah, J.C. Johnson. J.C. Johnson was like a rock star of the crypto, cryptozoology world, and he's was the godfather. And I had him on for years and years until he passed away. Jack Carey was one of his acolytes, and Jack comes in really, pretty regular for as much as he can come in because he does Coast to Coast, Gaia TV, and a whole bunch of others. Yeah, Jack's been doing shows with me for almost as long as David, maybe a little longer off and on before that.
Mm-hmm.
But Jack's the cryptozoology guy, and then we have Ron Shaw that used to come in too. Was part of that group. Yeah, and we had a diverse group of folks that I host when I produce these shows. From Nancy Planetta and Daryl Dunlap are the hosts of the all new Cafe Enigma now, and Nancy used to have her own show before that, and that's why I picked her, and so did Dee. And I picked them for that. But Nancy worked with me longer consecutively than Dee. She did a show called The Vixen's Vault. And then later on, The Vixen's Vault added Game Theory, which is her husband, Raphael. And they used to get picked up off and on by, terrestrial radio and had, exclusive contracts, But and then she would leave, and then we're always friends because everybody that's been with me, even if they go, they come back. All right, like hey Mark, I'm like, hey, I need a show. Are you doing anything? I'm like, and they're like, yeah, we got this project going, but it'll finish up around this time. Well, okay, if you can fill this slot at this time, let me know. And sometimes I'll get a call, sometimes I won't. I've been doing this long enough so it doesn't take long to fill a slot.
yeah because you're known. Yeah, that's cool.
And with terrestrial radio and internet radio, you have to be on time. There's no 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes later, or hey, I want to do the show the day before or 3 days later. No, you're live. It's all live.
Wow.
And folks love live over,
I think they do. It's more
canned
than the recorded.
Yeah, I hate doing. I really despise doing canned radio or any kind of podcast because it you know it can be changed. It's to me it's not sincere radio.
It's not as authentic. It's kind of like remastered music. I
Yeah,
think.
yeah. It's not to me. It's not sincere because, hey, if I have a dog or some birds barking in the background, or I burn myself because the coffee spilt. Hey, that's live radio, and that's good radio, and people can understand and say, hey, this really happening, and they get intrigued and pulls them in.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was talking about, remastered music, and especially classic rock or like Phil Collins or something. You go on Apple Music, it's all remastered, and it's so and like I have some of the old albums. I would rather listen to them or just go into a live concert. And so that I think people, and a lot of younger people are doing that with their music now, getting the old albums back, because they don't have
the vinyl and stuff.
Yeah, they're getting into vinyl again.
The vinyls and too, the vinyl packages, they had a bigger space for all the artwork and stuff.
That was always cool. The albums, the album covers.
Yeah, because way bigger than the CDs or any of that stuff that came along with.
Back in the LP days, and Dave, don't even. I'm not even going to go as far back as you. Back. Okay, 33.
Hey,
33 and a half was okay for me, but I know you was doing 78s and some of the others. But anyways,
Yeah.
It started with 45s.
45s.
45s, yeah, 45, 78s, and 33, and then there was one below that too. I can't remember, but anyways, it was like 15 or 20. Anyway, because I had a record player that would play them all, one time. Until I got the Teak. Then when I got the Teak, then that was the reel-to-reel,
That was how you did home recording back then, I think.
Yeah, home recording was reel-to-reels. Yeah.
The reel. I remember Dad told me about that. Now I just do all my home recording digital and stuff now.
I know, isn't that crazy?
It's crazy how it's advanced.
Do you remember? Didn't the 45s? Now this might be wrong. Didn't they have some little plastic thing you put in the middle of them so they would play?
Yeah. You had to have the little spacer.
Yeah,
you clipped in the center of the deal. Yeah, that was great. Those were the days. I miss the days when phones had wires that attached them to walls, and if you left in your car, truck, or whatever, boat maybe, you weren't pestered. All right. Yeah. All right. I hate these cell phones. I do. I'm old. I'm not old. All right.
You've always got to have your cell phone by a charger or something. So like for me, if I'm working with like recording software or something, that really drains my battery a lot. So I have to have my charger or whatever present at all times, and pretty much anywhere I go, but especially in that instance.
What are you talking about? Well, with as many places and platforms that I go out to, I have to be hardwired and use FiOS.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I could never do what I do on Wi-Fi ever.
It's near impossible. It's very hard. Yeah. I'm just working with what I can. So.
Yeah, my censorship sucks guy. He finally got what is it? Elon's link. What is it? The satellite link thing.
Yeah.
He finally got that. Now he's clear as a bell. But he lives out of a van and goes north in the summertime to cool down, and south in the wintertime and he lives out of a van. He's been living the van life for about maybe 4 years now.
Really?
Yeah. And he's the host of 5 hours of my content a week.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I was going to ask, I guess I'm kind of trying to interview you, but
What would you like to know that I've done? And I'll say, yeah, I've done that. No, I haven't, but maybe I'm planning on.
Well, I was going to ask about some of the alien stuff you had covered, but my son just left for a few minutes. That's more like the topic he was kind of interested in.
Okay. Yeah, someone was mentioning are UFOs real? Yeah, I think they're real. All right, I think they're. But I think this is what I think. Dave, don't get mad at me. No. Some of them are ours.
Yep.
I think they're all
right.
I think, and see, I love paranormal, and I'd like to say, oh, it's spooky, but I think it's all, us, like you.
No.
Pretty much.
Do I think that they're all from outer space? No. I think dimensions play a big part of this. Do I think those aliens that come here might be the same as what we are? Yeah, I think maybe their timeline advanced more, and they were able to do these things possibly. They're from a different part of the galaxy, in another dimension in universe. Who knows? But that's just how it is.
But I do think also it has to do with I don't know if I'm allowed to say this. I guess I am our government, our military maybe.
Yeah. Why do you think we have a space force? Bigelow said back in the 70s, we have the technology to take ET home. So, that says it right there.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
If we have the technology to take ET home, then we have it all.
You can pretty much say anything, Summer. Just don't worry about that. It's the only thing you got to worry about is saying the bad words that go into chemicals. Be careful with chemical words.
Well, back to the reason I said
that. Yeah, I don't do spirit well either, though. A lot of people will cringe when I talk about spirit.
Oh, okay. The reason I say that about the UFOs, though, is like we live around here close to Dayton, Wright-Patt Air Force Base, so I'm sure you've heard of that.
Oh, yeah.
And all the issues there. But I moved, I lived out in the country, and I moved to this town, Middletown, Ohio, which is pretty close to Dayton. And there's some strange stuff I see around here. I was taking a aerobic class, and after the class, there was an older man in there, and my instructor, I don't know how we got to talking about it, but we were laughing. Somebody said something about aliens or something, and then my instructor said, the older gentleman that was here, he's a military guy, and he said there are aliens in this town among us, and you don't know the difference between them or anyone else. And she said he's like so no nonsense. She said it's creepy. When he told me that, she said it really kind of scared me. So stuff like that, Well,
my thing is we need to take and get a handle on our borders. All right. I don't care if they're coming across from Mexico, Canada, or the outer space. All right. We need. Right. If they're going to be here, they better damn well pay taxes.
Right.
So
and come through the right way. All right.
Mark,
just because you think you're so advanced in that you can blend in doesn't mean that you can't pay your taxes and get a real job. All right.
So Mark, are you ready for your YouTube chat questions? Because that kind of goes in line with what you're talking about.
Yeah, what do we got for YouTube chat questions?
Okay, so Danny Boy Span 1 says, are UFOs real, which you've covered, but he also asks, as a mechanical machine, they must break down at times, maybe run out of fuel. So do they have a breakdown service or maybe a breaker's yard for spare parts?
Sure, I think they contact governments, to be their insurance agents to cover stuff up for them like that. And I don't believe that all the UFOs out there are mechanical. I do believe that there's a maybe it's a biomechanical or they're engineered, entity type thing. So when you get that far and technical, you can create things that hey, at one time we used a horse to carry the buggy. All right, maybe they're doing the same thing, with some sort of creature that they've manipulated into a craft for them. No. So it could be a living thing. We don't know, but that is possible. Do they have a minimum age before you can fly one? Oh yeah. When they become teenagers, they're like,
Sure.
here we go. David knows the answer to this, and he's gonna be like, yeah, I was there too. Anyways, yes, when they become teenagers, they're allowed to get their first license to fly saucers in their craft, and then they come down to Earth and make all sorts of graffiti, like crop circles and geoglyphs and things like that, so that the people on Earth are like, what the hell is this? Yeah, that comes from teenage alien kids who just got their keys to the or their ability to
you can't say teenage though, because like if Summer was an alien, she would be doing crop circles.
Let's just say adolescent aliens.
Yeah, there you go.
Adolescent weirdo aliens.
I'm telling you.
They probably came down. Elon's pot field or whatever, and then spoke up with some great artwork and left. And then they took some pictures, that they probably got from our satellites and said, well, that looked pretty good. That was, I didn't know I could fly in that straight of a line or do that kind of, and they talk amongst themselves and they're like, man, those stupid humans. But anyways, Elon Musk, I don't consider him the most dangerous man alive, though he's probably up there. All right. The most dangerous man alive is Klaus Schwab.
Yeah.
And the next one is anybody who is a part or takes part or wants to be a part that's in the Economic Forum.
Yeah, he's the founder and the current president of the World Economic Forum.
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah, I think he's about the closest thing. If the Antichrist thing is true, I think he's about the closest thing to him that there is. Yeah, he's been responsible for a lot of the chaos the world's seen the last 4 years. He's had a major. He's up there with like George Soros.
Only 4?
Bill Gates. He's up there with those guys.
Okay, now back when you're talking about like extraterrestrial beings, what do you think would be the reason that they would like try to integrate in with humans and act like they were one of us, though, like that guy?
It's simple. Have you ever watched Star Trek?
Well, yeah.
Okay. Star Trek, they go to, they have like little groups that are cloaked on the planet that, go around and watch and interact, and, they make themselves look like the inhabitants of that planet, and they learn about their culture, their values, and, how they do things. So, or if they made us, they're probably still continuing the experiment.
See, that's what I thought, is like they are more advanced than us, but so they have to come back here to find like human qualities, more humanity,
Well, there's lots of different things about that too. All right, there's some that believe that they come back for our DNA because they can't reproduce. All right.
Oh, there could be that.
So
Too.
yeah, so there's and that's one line of thinking. There's another line of thinking too that that they come in, and they keep us around because we're good at doing certain things, and we're easily roboticized, okay, and influenced. Yes. All right. So they can send, they could cyborg us and send us to other places. In fact, one of my old panelists, he used to be a great guest. Well, he is a great guest, and he'll probably come back again. Time traveler John Titor II. And I don't know if you've ever heard of him, but he's been on a lot of different radio shows as well. He was a general in the Secret Space Force, and when he retired as a colonel. Because when you come out, you get demoted. Because he has his own TR-3B, and he's ready to go anytime. And when shit hits the fan, he's out of here. He said, "Right, Dave?"
Yep. Yeah, John. Yeah.
Like he's able to leave the planet.
And he's so into it. He can direct correspond with every president that he's in the timeline with.
Wow. Oh, thank you. That's flattering.
I have a raccoon guy, but I think for sure it got rabies. I listen to the fox more than the raccoon, all right? And even though the raccoon's supposed to be my primary out of the 5, the fox, gives better information, clearer, more concise.
Right.
Yeah, I think so. I'm, even though it gets so, hey, I'm not reading no more damn books, raccoon. I'm done with that. You could tell me, give me the condensed version, or the YouTube, what is it, the little shorts, and then I can get the idea, and then I can go from there. But I'm not reading any volumes anymore. Screw that.
It takes a while to read that much information.
Right.
I wish I had more time to read myself, but I hardly do.
When you stepped away, though, we were talking about how here in Middletown, I told about the military guy that said there's people that are extraterrestrials or aliens, just like humans. So
I've always gotten a feeling there's something hiding in this town.
Yeah, it's a little different.
It's
I don't know what it is.
Well, I've had a lot of different folks on my shows too, like Scotty Roberts, Dr. John Ward, and let's see who else was on Ancient Aliens that I've had on. I've had a lot of those guys on, except for Giorgio, and I still haven't got what's his name in yet. German guy. I always forget his name. He wrote the book on the that In Search of was actually based on.
Oh, okay.
The show In Search of was actually based on.
Yeah, I don't know his name.
I can see his face. He's a German guy, old German guy.
So, you know what? It's interesting here that they say that, Right Pat has the alien that they found out in, was it Roswell?
Yeah,
you might know
Roswell.
more about that. Austin's more into the.
Yeah, they had
aliens,
the body of one of the couple of the aliens that supposedly died in the crash, and then one that survived, but it supposedly died from a cold or something because it didn't have immunity to Earth viruses. So they have bodies of all of them. I think in Hangar 18, I believe they said it was.
That was sent up to Right Pat, and then then from there they probably shipped it out to 53 or 4 now.
Oh yeah, was that out in?
Because Area 51 isn't what it used to be, and it's not what people think it is now. It's like.
Well, yeah, it was so secure. I don't know anything about it now, but I know they always said it was so secure and you can go out there.
That was out next to White Sands Missile Range, I think, where they test
Yep. Stuff. Well, David could probably tell you more about that than me, right,
Okay.
David?
Yeah. Well, the Roswell thing was the reason. The information that my dad received. My dad was researching the saucers. He started in 1948, so I grew up with this. And,
wow. Okay.
And he felt, well, he was pretty psychic, my dad, and he felt that the Roswell crash was just like what that young man just said about and the White Sands of New Mexico, that they did a lot of nuclear testing and it messed up the magnetic belts within which they travel, like our interstates within our atmosphere, and that's why the craft crashed. And then they moved it up to Wright-Patterson, and then out 51, and then God knows what was it? What did you say, Mark?
53 or 54 now, or either that, or they might have moved everything down into Antarctica. I think
that could be.
I think a lot of the stuff they really don't want us to know is in Antarctica right now.
Yeah.
Because human history isn't what we think it is.
Oh no, absolutely it isn't.
Yeah.
I heard years ago, I don't know if this is true or not, that they were saying Hitler didn't really commit suicide, but he actually escaped Berlin just before the Russians took, and he went to him and some of his inner circle actually fled to Antarctica. And for the last 70 some odd years, the Third Reich has been rebuilding down there. But I don't know.
Actually, I really think that what happened is he didn't make it all the way down to Antarctica. They ended up in Chile, and then the Mossad caught up to him, and then he had to move up to Ecuador, and he has a son that may still be alive in either Peru or Ecuador. There's been in fact there's been lots of documentaries about that. Not saying that they didn't have a place down in Antarctica, New Schwabenland. Of course they did. Whether it was survivable year round is another thing. But Argentina is very, very close, as well as Australia to and New Zealand to Antarctica.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
Yeah, my thing is, if I ever had the money, what I'd want to do is build a big, huge biodome on one of the islands down there, right off Antarctica. I wouldn't want to be on Antarctica, just off of it, where I could be supplied by subs or ships. And it's like 40 or negative 60 degrees below zero there, and I'm in the biodome with tropical climate. No,
Antarctica is the last place on Earth anybody wants to be. So they think
no one would mess with me there. And I could still do all my radio shows there. I could get my if I had the money, I'd do Elon, and just set up my own damn satellite system and beam my shows to everyone, and even take for some Russian satellites and old Chinese and American ones that aren't being used, to broadcast my shows, because that's how I roll.
No, part of the reason, that'd be nice, wouldn't it? Now, part of the reason I think they moved.
Believe me, I don't have any delusions of grandeur about this at all.
Part of the reason I think they moved some of the stuff from Area 51 and White Sands and stuff down to Antarctica too is because there was years ago I heard the Russians were taking a lot of satellite photos of Area 51, so that was part of the reason they couldn't keep it concealed here in the States anymore. They needed to go more exclusive to a way more excluded area.
What are you talking about? It's all underground or in the mountains.
Yeah.
It's nothing's above ground. Even if you go to Antarctica, it's going to be underground. All right.
Oh, yeah. Still will.
So you know, and if it's in Antarctica, guess what? All the nations who signed the treaty have put their stuff in the same place.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this new world order is centered in Antarctica. All right, to me. All right, and I'm like, why haven't they just moved? The United Nations down to Antarctica, because that's the most neutral place. No one's allowed to own anything down there, theoretically,
they don't
or claim it as a country or a territory. All right, they're not allowed.
So they don't want to, but they don't want to give away where they're hiding the goodies that they're keeping from the.
Well, no, they keep that at there's islands in that at the north. At the northern part of our continent, our world. There's islands up there. What they call it, the Vikings knew about it.
Yeah.
So and both places go into the hollow earth, if you believe in that, and I do. I believe in flat earth. I believe in hollow earth, and I believe all the planets that we have in our solar system they are all occupied in some way, some form, with some type of entity that's intelligent. All right, inside the planet. All right.
That's what me and Roger were talking about with those with that series we do.
The Hollow Earth.
Yeah, I've actually had John Lear Jr. Okay, CIA. What else did he do, David?
He was
with.
He was with Art Bell when they brought it out. Yeah, and because he was a pilot for a commercial pilot and brought all that information out.
He was a test pilot for the CIA. Yeah, that's what he did. All right, and he was in the astronaut program, and he knew all the Armstrong and all those guys. But he didn't make the cut.
No, he was too outspoken.
Yeah, John's too outspoken.
Yeah.
What was it? Project Majestic was his little thing before he passed away.
The Majestic 12.
MJ-12, yeah.
MJ-12.
I remember hearing about that on Unsolved Mysteries when I was a little kid, and I thought that was just badder than shit, man.
Yeah.
Majestic 12.
Yeah,
that's a badass name for like a top secret kind of commando unit or something. And that was right. Not generals, admirals just don't, fly out of buildings, on what 27th floor for no reason, Oh, he just committed suicide. He was.
Yeah. Oh, that was suicide. No. Yeah. Right.
Kind of like how Hillary Clinton has like 57 friends that committed suicide.
Yeah.
What's going on with it?
Okay. Yeah.
People that committed suicide.
Yeah.
Or, one that shot himself.
I don't know. That might be medical misinformation or malinformation here on YouTube. So I'm not sure.
It'll get Roger.
It'll get me in trouble.
Man got sick.
That's what I'm saying. Like, Summer's a troublemaker.
That was down on the news.
Yeah, I know.
It's all coincidence.
Shows in the nude? Yeah, closed optional radio is fine. Everybody can see you, on the radio.
I have no problem with getting naked. I'll do it.
It's all a coincidence, and if you believe otherwise, you're racist.
Right.
My neighbors get mad because I don't have curtains on my bedroom window.
That's funny. The neighbors should be minding their own business.
That's what I tell them. They say it's hard to do when you're watching porn and the freaking computer's facing the window.
It's not too cold outside.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm talking to somebody. Here, also, don't worry about it.
Yeah,
No, don't open it.
Well, it's really warmed up here in Texas. We're shooting 90s already. We're on that.
No, Gal Fire, I noticed you haven't said nothing. Do you want to ask some questions? Because this is the quietest I've heard of you since I met you. So Do you want to ask some stuff? If you want to, unmute. You don't have to stay muted.
Okay. Well, the only reason I was muted is because I've got the background noise and I don't have that great of a microphone. And I was just kind of letting you guys do your thing, you know. So you're good. Yeah, I don't really have any questions. I was actually, you know, doing stuff over here. I had to find the window. Sorry, I'm late.
No problem.
Yeah, pretty cool stuff.
It's a lot to take in. That's kind of how I was when Roger did that interview with Brian Ruhe. Man, he was such a mountain of information. I was just quiet the whole time, and Roger couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Brian's a really good guy. I haven't had him on yet, but I'm sure there will be an opportunity where we'll have him come in as well on shows. You know, good. Brian's got around, and he has his own groups of people, and right now he's in groups that we're not really in or associate. You know, so you know, because all these, you know, there's factions all over the place. So, you know, it's you know, are they friendly? We'll have to figure that out after we have them on or listen to them for a little while. Well, I think Brian be all right, but you know, some of the other folks that maybe Nancy or some of the other people in the group there might not, you know, have the same reaction because you know they, you know, like a lot of my folks have good connections with Jimmy Church and the folks there, Dolan and people like that. So, you know, and Nancy, she, before she even came on air with any of us, and she was doing her own show and that, she was a part of Ghost Hunters with Taps, and it was Jason and all of them, and she ran their chat room for IRC for a long time.
Okay.
So, you know, it's
a lot going on, and
pretty diverse group. We get in every now and then.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff out there, and I saw this thing on TikTok. I don't know how you feel about. I don't get on there a lot, but it's
Chinese radio.
Yeah. But there is this girl on there, she does this little thing. It's pretty cool. She'll say, what's the scariest thing that's ever happened to you that no one would believe? And these people tell their stories, and it's really got some people got some really cool things out there, you know. A lot of stuff on TikTok's just kind of silly, but I've actually sent a few to Austin, and they're pretty cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of really
different
cool
subjects.
A lot of really cool stories on.
Yeah.
I've actually had a lot of weird experiences when I was in the service, and a little bit before that. And some after, but in my time in the service, because I went worldwide, I lived in Panama for 4 years and was there during the invasion.
Wow.
And so you know, I understand Bruja, you know, so and that's what the Latin Americans call witchcraft, Bruja.
Okay.
And so. I've had, you know, when I was there, I lived in Panama. It was like I had a pterosaur experience that could have been it could have been pterosaur or chupacabra in the complex that I was living at. Everybody was terrified, and there was 3 claw marks all over the wall, and it flew in, and it you know, because the name chupacabra is a catch-all. It just means bloodsucker, goat sucker, or something like that. So they take in. We had this encounter. It was late at night, and I was married to my first wife at the time. Yeah. And she was like, "Oh, chupacabra," and we're hiding in the room, and she's pulling out the prayer beads, and we're going through it all. I'm like, "Oh my God!" And I was like. And I was terrified too because it was in making this really weird, and I've never heard a call like that before, ever. I mean, it sounded something like a mix between someone grinding metal, Godzilla call, and a train stopping from full speed. And it was really, really loud. And there was, and this was in Panama City, Panama. Not in town, but right on the outskirts. But we were in the commercial district where we lived, right next to the mall.
Wow.
So at the time, and we had that, and then I worked out in the missile field, so I'd see all sorts of stuff in the sky, and the shadowy figures in the the elevators and in the that place is haunted. There ain't no
you need to tell them about
someone would say, okay, and I am not going to say haunted because I don't believe in ghosts. I don't, and I don't believe Grandma can come back or anybody else can come back unless like weird stuff happens and necromancy is involved. All right, there's no now familiar spirits are okay because everybody has familiar spirits around you, but they've never been, or if they have been, it's been centuries to learn how to become guides for you. All right, whether they take the shape of an animal, a demon, or an angel, or whatever, they're guides. They're some of them are neutral. That would be like your nature spirits or your jinn or the jinn. All right, I do believe in the jinn. All right, yeah. And I've had experiences in the desert with jinn. All right, so because I did 11 tours to Saudi Arabia, and I've had a lot of different encounter type stuff. You would never think that there'd be kind of fairies out there where the sand is, but they don't call them fairies there. It's jinn. All right.
Yeah, I think I've read some stuff about that. And
any form that's acceptable to you, and they can be just as mean or just as helpful as they want to be.
Yeah, I've heard some different stories, and not to back up on this, but I think what you were saying in Panama about the chupacabra.
Yeah.
I lived in Southwest Ohio, so I grew up outside of Oxford, Ohio. It's like a little college town, but we lived out in the country, and there was some woods, but we had horses, small, like about 11 acres, and I was out. I would go out and ride horses and stuff, and it was pretty rural. And one night I was coming into the house, and I heard, and it's so funny how you described that metallic scream.
Yeah.
It was just weird. And my mother, she came running because she heard it too. And both her and I were there alone, and we listened to it. And she was, older and had lived out there almost all of her life because she got married really young. And she said, I've never heard anything like that. But it had this like it was bouncing off a metal roof or something, and it was like a scream. It sounded kind of like a woman. It's hard to describe.
Yeah, it would do it, and it kept doing it for, it seemed like hours, but it was probably only minutes. But
yeah, I think we heard it several times, and we were so scared. And all she could think about, like she told my dad, and we told my brothers and stuff, and people would always just say, well, there's some deep woods back there behind your property, and maybe it's a little bobcat. So they likened it to a bobcat.
Cats don't make that kind of a noise.
No.
Neither do porcupine. All right. And there is no bobcats, porcupine in Panama. All right.
No, and we're in Southwest Ohio. We are not supposed to have them. And I grew up out there. My mother had been out there, and she said, if we had bobcats, why haven't I ever heard it before? That's the first time she ever heard it. It was the last time we ever heard it. But we couldn't we just couldn't attach it to any kind of animal that was supposed to be in that area. It was so spooky.
Here's something really cool. In my area right now where I live, I've seen pterosaurs 3 times. Okay.
You're talking about pterodactyls?
Yeah. the small, but these are small variety. All right, they're about the size of a stork or a crane. All right.
Now, where is it?
There's a unique thing about these things because they have the tail has like a kite, like a diamond at the end, or it doesn't look like a bird tail. And and this one flew close enough to my truck when I was crossing this one river to get from my kids. I dropped my kids off and come back to my house.
Yeah.
And it flew close enough to the truck that I could see the red eye. There was absolutely no feathers on this thing at all. It had the pointed head at the back, and the teeth. You could see teeth in its mouth. So, and I figure now that I've been here a while, and I've talked to Jack Carey and some of the others about this, and they think that there's a small breeding population of the smaller variety of pterodactyl or pterosaur. All right.
Now, where does it live, Mark?
I'm in central Texas. Okay. I'm not going to tell you exactly where I live. I will give you an area.
That's good enough.
Between Austin and Waco. That's 80 miles. All right, between the two.
Now, the interesting thing about those pterodactyls you're talking about, that reminds me of some of the Stegosaurus and Brontosaurus sightings that I read about in Africa, people having seen in Africa.
What about the Congamato? Okay, that's a pterosaur. That's in Africa.
Yeah, like the Mokele Membe, and there were some of the native tribes that said they saw Stegosauruses and stuff down in some of those African swamps. That kind of reminds me of that, but I never thought about pterodactyls.
Yeah. I figure if anything's going to survive, it's going to be a bird-like creature over something big, things, and there's lots of food. You got roadkill right where it came up out of, and you also have fish, and they always show like pterosaurs and pterodactyls and pterodons around water eating fish and stuff like that. So since they are bird-like and also a reptile, because all pterosaurs are reptiles, all right, they could probably hibernate in caves.
And you got a lot.
And that would explain why, and if there's so few of them, and everybody's looking at, their cell phones now or trying to concentrate on the road while they're driving, they're not going to see things in the air. Yeah.
No.
So is there an effort made to actually capture a live specimen of one? Or?
I have no idea, and I wouldn't mess with it. It looks like it would be kind of mean to take and mess with. Can you imagine? A crane or a herring. Okay, that's about the size of a monitor. You know how much a monitor lizard could mess you up. All right.
Oh,
why would you want to take and do something that has a beak?
Teeth.
Right.
And has teeth. All right. Yeah. If it has teeth, it's probably carnivorous. Or an opportunity eater, like like these big vultures that we have here in Texas.
Oh, you guys have some giants out there.
I mean, there's huge birds, and I know the birds in this area, so I know that did not fit.
All this that you're talking about leads me to a couple other. It's reminded me of a couple other things I've been interested in for a long time that I want to ask you about. Like, the first question is, what do you think about the efforts to resurrect the Tyrannosaurus? Because now they got DNA. And then the second question is, this also reminds me of the Thunderbird, which I've been interested
Oh, yeah.
in.
Thunderbird has even been drawn the same way as a pterosaur. Okay.
So you think it's actually a pterosaur that people have seen?
Well, when I was a kid growing up in Pennsylvania, all right, I've seen these giant raven-like crows that when my grandparents would take me with them when they went on vacation, when they had a camper that sat in the back of the truck, and we'd go up in the mountains down these cow pasture roads that only my grandfather knew about, I think. Yes. And, you wouldn't even think that there was a road there, but he knew about it, and we were going up them, and there was like 3 or 4 of these giant crow-like or raven-like birds that were the size of cows, feeding on cows in the pasture where the cows were at. And these things would have easily come up over, even though I was young. I was probably about 7 or 8 years old at the time. Even though I was young at the time, I know if they would have stood up next to the truck, they would have been taller than the cab.
Wow.
Okay, so there are rocks. Okay, I think those are like rocks. Like the Europeans call them, but the American version's all black. All right.
Okay.
And these things are huge.
So these things you're talking about are like ravens and crows on steroids, so to speak.
No, they're like prehistoric ones, and but I think, and I don't think that this has anything to do with gigantism either. All right, I think that it's a separate breed. I think there's small populations of them, and when the food is, if there's enough food, they expand their population, and get bigger. And you're finding a lot more of those types of sightings in Midwest now that there's been conservation with buffalo and other horses and things like that out there. So
actually up here
so that's going to bring back a food source for them. All right, because that's probably it would take that to eat, and in the in the pictures from Europe and that, it would show these giant birds picking up whales. All right. So, hey.
And that's interesting. You mentioned conservation, because up here in Ohio, we're starting to have the black bears and bobcats return, which have been extinct for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
For the area.
Yeah. Now, what do you think about the Tyrannosaurus being brought back?
I think if they put it out, they've already done it. Jurassic Park is here.
So where do we find a
anything that they put out is just to let you know, hey, we did this. I'm not sure if we screwed up, but the public needs to know this in case it ever gets loose.
Do you think? Do you think Jurassic Park was footage of an actual living Tyrannosaurus as opposed to like a machine used?
No. That's CGI. That's CGI. Okay. I do believe that. Now, I also believe that everything that happens in Hollywood now, and for quite some time, is a precursor of what we're going to go through, or what they already know or have, because they said. I mean, even. Bigelow said back, I think it was either before or after, he said about, we can take E.T. home if he needs to go home. He said everything that you see on that series, they have.
Wow.
So if they have it, and they can do all that, what can they do now? It's 50 years later or more.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, 62, I think 61 or 62 is when Star Trek came out.
Right,
the first incarnation.
Yeah, the first generation. So if they can do that, we've been out there for quite a while, and when we come back, when those folks come back, do they change?
Right.
Because when you leave Earth's atmosphere and you go out there, they know the astronauts' DNA changes. So what happens to these folks when they come back?
Actually, that's really interesting. You should mention that too, because like take Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin, for example. You know, they were supposed to be the first man to walk on the moon and the first man to orbit the moon. Well, that's what they say. But they say that
the first ones to be let known. How many Mercury and Apollo missions were there? And how many were actually shown to actually land on the moon? All right, before the Germans got there.
Yeah, Germans were probably there back in the 30s or some shit.
Right.
But I mean,
exactly.
But Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong, like you say, the DNA changes. Okay, these guys, both of their wives said they left one person to go to the moon, and they came back as another. And they both became huge reclusive alcoholics, and they wouldn't do public appearances or interviews.
Yeah.
You know, anything. Yep. So what happened to them up there that they wouldn't talk about? And it's, you know, that's something.
I mean, one of them came back and said they told us not to come back. I don't know which one it was. I'm not sure if that was off of 15, the last one that actually landed there that we know about, or missions after that.
Well, the thing too to ask.
Going over there in chat, Cecilia Adams in YouTube chat is one of my kick moderators on Wednesday and Saturdays. Just like to give her a little shout out.
Oh.
Now, hey, another thing that you need to ask too is like there were 17 missions, and why did it stop at 17? You know what I mean?
I don't think they stopped.
Yeah, and why were only Freemasons picked?
Yeah. You know, you got to think about questions like that too, though. Yeah. Like, why did they stop at 17? Weren't they supposed to go to 20? That was the original plan.
So, yeah.
They're gonna whine and complain. It was all about money.
Yeah. That's what.
But that's not true. You know that's not true, because when they get their funding, from like 2 or 3 administrations before they get their money.
I'm going to come right out and say,
so that's BS.
NASA is a big fat distraction from a far more advanced space program.
My thing is this, okay? I think Elon has shown us what's really going on, all right? Because each company and corporation that has their hands in NASA and space program has their own stuff in space of their own, all right? So how far have those corporations gone past what the government knows? Or is there something that they're governed by that they agreed upon? Well, in our, firing off rockets from our airspace to do this, all right? So, hey, you gotta think about that, and it's all about where the money comes from.
Right.
Sure, you can. Sure, I'm sure Elon and Northrop Grumman and probably Boeing and who's that one over there? The guy over in England that has I can't think what's his name. Huh?
Branson?
Yeah, right. the one that just took up Shatner not that long ago.
Oh, it wasn't that Bezos?
No, not. But Bezos has his own stuff too. They all have their own little space programs and stuff. So what is the connection?
The guy from Virgin Mobile, I think, is who you're referring to.
Yeah, that's who I'm talking about. The guy from Virgin Mobile.
I remember him, though.
But anyways, what do they have? How far have they gone past what and what do they know that we don't?
Yeah.
Of course, the governments can't tell you because they leave it to these companies so they can compartmentalize it.
Yep.
So,
Right. This is kind of off topic a little, but when you were talking about the pterodactyls, what do you think about that Mothman?
Oh, yeah, Mothman. I'm pretty sure that exists too. I think that's part of Native American lore as well, all the way into, hey, we probably created something like that.
Yeah. Well, they kind of said it was something from like a factory or something there, didn't they? I don't know if
that used to be an old nuclear bomb storage area. So who knows? Maybe it's an owl version of Godzilla. Who knows?
Asking about the Hat Man.
All right. We don't understand a lot of things about how radiation affects us. Other than too much will kill you.
Yeah. But they were saying people always see it before, like there's something bad happens. But I mean, there's always bad stuff going on. But that's supposedly the story behind Mothman. So
yeah. Well, we a good friend of mine, and he's been on the show on Cafe Enigma before. Is Lon Strickner, and he talks about a group of owlmen up in Chicago Airport.
Really?
Okay, yeah, I think it's Midway up there, because they see him there, and now there's talk about stuff like creatures like that over in Europe too, but they call them the owlmen because if you really look at Mothman, it looks like a giant owl too. If you look,
actually, people were trying to say that's what it was, but it's way too big.
And going back into like the gigantic birds, like I was talking about before, why couldn't there have been, an owl breed that was huge like that too?
Right.
There could have been, absolutely. Right. That's not far. That's not far fetched.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I asked when she was still alive, Linda Godfrey. Linda used to come on my shows quite a bit. God rest her soul. We talk about Dogman. I was like, can Dogman, be, have different breeds? And she goes, what do you mean by that? German Shepherds have a look to them. Pekingese have a look to them. Bulldogs. Have you ever? I asked her. I said, has anybody ever come across a Dogman that had like a bulldog face or something like that? And she goes, no, but I'll have to look into that. And then she started looking into it, and she found that there were different. There's a hyena-looking one. All right. And that one was probably the most biggest one that she came out of it with. But I'm sure, when you talk about that goes all the way back to ancient Greece, all right, Dogman, and all the way into Egypt. We talk about Anubis, all right, a jackal head with a human body, well, Dogman, all right, Dogman. All right, we talked about the thing that was cursed by Zeus in I think it was Sicily or one of the islands there, because he was he was a cannibal, and so he cursed him to be a wolf, and he was Dogman. All right, so you.
Wow.
Yeah, so I mean that's been, and if you look at the Middle Eastern culture too, there's been like tribes of dogmen, and they're warlike.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and as far into like Babylon and what's the other one, Assyria. That I mean, Dogman goes back that far when you think about it. And big too, Gilgamesh's good buddy before, the whole deal, in the Epic of Gilgamesh, they always talk about his friend. I can't remember what his friend's name was. That, they went and did everything together from killing that one cow. Huh?
Enkidu,
yeah. When, and Enkidu, what do you think Enkidu was?
Yeah.
Bigfoot. He is Bigfoot. A description to the T of Bigfoot.
Right.
You know who another Bigfoot creature too is the one on Star Wars. What was his name?
Chewbacca.
Oh, Chewbacca, yeah.
I always thought he was Bigfoot.
Yeah, something. He's similar to it, I think. When you hear about the description.
I always thought he was Bigfoot.
Austin has been wanting me to ask you. I mean, I haven't seen ghosts like you. I believe.
I don't believe in ghosts. They're not ghosts. Now, shadow people, I've seen shadow people.
Well, that's what.
And shadow animals. All right, since I was like 4 or 5 years old, 6.
Oh, okay.
All right. Anything from like birds, animals, people, foxes, dogs, rabbits. All right, shadows. But
okay.
But I mean, I grew up in southwestern Pennsylvania. There's a lot of coal, a lot of crystalline in there of different huge quartz deposits in all that. All right.
Right.
And other things that can hold energy, and if you put energy into it, it's going to shove it back up into some form. All right. Yeah. Whether it's lightning, crack a veil open for something to come through that's really not, in our dimension, that is, kind of peeking in, who knows, that's what it is to me.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I've not seen a ghost. I've had a lot of paranormal experiences, I would suppose, but I did see a top hat man or shadow man, I guess. We were walking down the street and the road, and actually they were building a house, and this is something I found about them. I've read a couple stories about them that sometimes people do see them around foundations of houses where they're building new homes and stuff like that. And I don't know if that had something to do with it, but that's where I saw it. The house was built, but they were putting in like the oil tanks. They were setting that up, and they still had a lot of the dirt around the foundation there. They were doing some stuff with.
Yeah, well, I used to have one when I was a kid. Had the little top hat like that too. When I was a kid, our property had a stream that ran halfway through it, and from the house to the back, you had to cross a bridge to go over to where the garden was. We planted all sorts of stuff and had a grape arbor over there. But anyways, anytime I was out, it would show up any time of day or even in the evening. It kind of watch me, and it would move back and forth but it could not cross the running water for some reason.
That's funny. The one I saw, I kind of got a really bad feeling about it. And the weird part was this: Austin was with me that night, and we were out walking our dogs, and I hit his arm, and I said, "Do you see that?" And then he was looking at something. He saw something in the sky at the same time.
Looked kind of like a bolt of lightning coming out.
Which distracted him totally. Yeah. So by the time he looked over to see what I was talking about, it was gone.
Smoke and mirrors. That's what it's all about.
It was pretty creepy.
Yeah.
Well,
don't worry. I'm sure that Gary or one of our other alphabet agency employees that work for our government have an explanation for you, but we will not get it here.
Yeah, I need an explanation. I can't think for myself, so please give me one.
Well, it's kind of getting late, so if you want to wrap it up, that's fine, or we can talk a little bit more.
I'm fine. We can keep going for now. I figured you go up till about 9 o'clock my time, or 10 years, whatever.
Okay, we could. Yeah, it's almost 10 here, so we could. I know Austin. I was
going
to leave it open here
twice.
Summer, I'm enjoying myself right now. And thanks, David, for coming and chiming in anytime.
Oh, that's fine, Mark. Anytime,
David.
But if Austin wants to ask you some more stuff, and I kind of just chime in as you guys.
Yeah.
I know you have some more questions, so
I was thinking what to ask.
What were you talking about, the shadow people?
We were talking about the top hat man.
You said you saw one. I wasn't with you then. So.
Now, I saw the top hat man, and he was it appeared like he was trying to intimidate me, but I just started praying, and he went away.
Yeah.
You'll notice about most things in the paranormal, if you're you have strong faith and you start doing that, and it's not, even David will tell you, even with the aliens, they'll go away. They'll go away. They don't want to be a part of that.
Yeah, they're not allowed to. They're not allowed interfering. No.
There's a non-interference thing, and that's kind of like what. I'm not even going to go there because that's probably bad.
You think
like your safety word in BDSM, anyways, but.
We've all got one of those, But do you think the Top Hat Man was actually trying to intimidate me, or was it just I was scared of him because I didn't?
I think these entities, when they come through, don't feed like normal creatures do, like eat food and that. Maybe over on their side, but the only thing that they can eat on our side is our emotions that we give off, and fear is a very strong emotion.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I was pretty scared at first when I saw him. I noticed he was there because it took me by surprise. I wasn't expecting to see anything period, but definitely.
And sometimes if you catch them off guard, they get irritated because they didn't think you were aware of them.
Yeah, there's also that because they don't want to be known. I don't think. I think they try. I think that's why they just watch people sometimes and they don't think people know they're there.
Yeah. I think it's kind of like, you guys were talking before the show and that about, what was it, Quantum Leap? I think that they have programs like that on the other side. They come out like that, maybe. That's a possibility. I'm not certain that it would happen, but it's a good theory.
Anything's possible, yeah. We don't know for sure if that's the case, but it seems possible. We don't because we don't know.
Now, one thing that I noticed when you were talking, Mark, that you said that has something to do that relates to what Summer said when she told me her story about water. Okay, now you were talking about these shadow people, and you said that you lived near a stream with a bridge that ran over it and you guys grew garden. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now she was living in a house that had a underground well just underneath it.
Yep.
Now, I also get involved with, or I like to listen mostly to parapsychology as well as paranormal, and I heard this one woman that was talking about pagan beliefs and everything, and I see a lot of paganism involved in that too.
Well, you think about this too. There was always lore about vampires not being able to cross running water as well.
That's a good point.
So there has to be something to running water. All right.
There's a good point to that.
So they don't when they tell these stories. Oh, sure, it's embellished and things like that, but within the story, they've told truths about some of these fables and possible, true occurrences. Now, are there real vampires? Oh yeah, sure there are. We got those adrenochrome junkies. What do you think that they're doing? Okay, that's young blood. That's taken from terrified and terrorized children being drank by or injected into these vampires. All right, because they're vampires at that point. All right.
There are a lot of our celebrities and politicians who worked at
that's adrenochrome. It's not they're trying to suck the soul. One of the things about vampires too was they drank to keep young.
So you think that's why some
life
of our
forces in the blood
celebrities and stuff were they appear to stay young for so long because they're sucking the youth out of these children that are victimized through through these.
I do believe that. No, to a point that, but only to a point where, genetics for some people are good. Okay, let's just say, okay, an older Hispanic woman might still look in her early 20s if she's 40. True. Okay,
I've
so
seen
genetics is going to have a lot to do with this. All right.
Thanks, Austin.
All right. I don't believe it all has to do with adrenochrome, but I think there's a good portion of it that has to do with being able to have good genetics along with that.
I don't know what you guys were talking about, so he'll be right back.
We were talking about celebrities being kind of like vampires, how they sell their souls.
I personally.
Celebrities and vampires. Okay.
Yeah, I personally believe that a lot of that has to do with mind control. To be honest with you, I'm starting to actually believe what they're talking about with MK Ultra, with these movie stars and stuff. If you really pay attention to these female movie stars, especially.
I don't even want to get involved with that, because when you go into MK Ultra, you're gonna look into as far as seeing that his JFK's wife actually killed him, because she was, and it was blotted out with her training that they put her through as an Onassis, and she wouldn't have had any recollection, and she had all the protection of the country.
Well, see, the thing too is with Summer too, she hasn't told you the whole thing about with what's going on in her life. We started talking, and when we started talking, she's telling me her story, and it's like a rabbit hole when it comes to Oxford, the town where she comes from. Okay. You honestly start out with her story, and then you go to the University of Oxford, and then from the University of Oxford, it just turns into this real freaking mangled craziness of stuff that's happened, and all the time this police force is saying, "Oh man, we just don't want the publicity because we're a small town."
Well, it's a university, they don't want bad publicity, so.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. How many murders are taking place? I mean,
we have when you get to that, then let's take a look at how many murders have happened on every Ivy League school. Okay, so and that goes from Yale, and not only Oxford, Yale, and what's the other one? Harvard, yeah.
Harvard,
Yale has the Skull and Bones.
The place where Skull and Bones and all of that come out of, all those places.
Yeah. No, let me clear that up too. When I'm saying Oxford University, it's not like the big Oxford University. This is
okay. This is
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. This actually was a girls' school that they had there in Oxford, Indiana. Okay, and you would think paranormal researchers would know about this place, but it's one of those hidden freaking places that that nobody freaking knows about. I heard about this stuff and I started researching it, and it is insane.
It's kind of hidden, and we did get our story on Unsolved Mysteries about Ron Taman. It's one of the unsolved mysteries of a student that disappeared in the 40s, I believe, or early, late 40s, I think. They never did solve that mystery, but there's a lot of weird stuff goes on.
Well, Ron Taman was the one that I was actually leading up to. Ron Taman is probably one of the weirdest ones, because people are actually talking about MK Ultra, and stuff like that. So it's really strange.
Yeah. And we had a triple murder. That wasn't on campus; it was off campus. But you hardly ever hear about it. You hear about a lot of those things on different shows and stuff. But yet that one never really comes up. And he killed, 2 little girls.
Yeah, I blame Dog Man.
It's Dog Man's fault.
I'm
Every
sorry.
time. He's the culprit.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Ooh.
He's the culprit.
Yeah.
Now,
You can't trust that guy. I'm telling you. You get out there and you try to make friends with him, and he's like,
Oh my goodness.
He'll sit for you. He'll beg. But the minute you try to put a collar or give him a flea collar, man, he just goes bananas.
He's
Screw Dog Man. If he can't be my friend and I can take him home, I don't want to deal with him.
You see why he has other people hosting his shows? You see?
Yeah.
He's a wild man. He is the Dog Man.
They used to call me that in the service, Wild Man. When I was in Panama, they used to call me Wild Man, and they used to or Stogie, because everywhere I went when I wasn't working in that, I was smoking a cigar.
I thought I was a conspiracy theorist till I heard you talk tonight. You're
Right.
you're
Oh, you haven't heard nothing.
He's being nice. He really is being nice. Like I was on his show the other night.
Conservative tonight,
Yeah.
super conservative
Well,
with.
yeah, for sake of Roger's YouTube channel, we have to be, unfortunately, because YouTube's strict about how deep we get into this.
Now, come on now. This is like a date, all right?
Yeah.
Girls should take off their clothes the first night, all right?
Well, we hope
And
they
I'm not
will.
going to give you all my information until you. I might give you a little bit tonight, and the next time you have me on, I'll give a little more. Just like a date, So
Yeah,
that's how it works.
Old. You're dating yourself because they don't do that anymore.
I'm old school, and I'm sticking to it. It's worked for me, but
you heard what he's gonna do, didn't you?
He did find me online, so I am, expanding some of my horizons in that department. But I'm still not showing you everything. All right.
Do you hear what he says he's gonna do, though,
Something
right?
to the imagination.
Summer.
Right.
Summer. You hear what he is eventually going to be doing, right? He's going to be taking his clothes off.
Me taking my. How do you know that I don't already have them off?
Oh my gosh! Thank goodness you don't have the webcam on.
Thank God, I never use one either. I don't
Mark,
believe.
I'm gonna hope you have your clothes on.
I have a face for radio, and the reason I don't do that is because I don't. Well, if some psychic was to take and come in here and take and check and see who and what I am and what I look like, I hope they're scarred for life after that. Yeah, cuss them too. 1,000 boxes on you. And may it go back 3 generations after that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, it's almost 10 o'clock. I don't know. Is there anything else you guys want to discuss? Or
I ain't got nothing better to do.
Yeah.
So I'm game for after show.
Yeah. Do you guys want to give your information and stuff, and
Oh yeah. Before I go,
Okay.
let me. I'll drop links, and I got tons of them.
He's got tons.
He sure does.
He does.
The best way to get a hold of me, if you can't spell my name or see it up there in chat, is to look up Dragus Productions, Dreagus Productions, all one word. And if you have questions that you want to take and send me, put something in the subject besides "Hey jerk," you can send that to Dragus Productions, all one word, at gmail.com.
Okay.
And here, I am going to give the links to Roger here.
Yeah, put him down there.
And I will also post them over in the I don't know. No, it's not letting me post into the YouTube chat for some reason.
Yeah, it's probably
YouTube doesn't let me post links either. I've tried doing that.
It says you're it's disabled for me.
Oh yeah, it's probably
probably got a strike again. Oh, that's right. I got a strike and it's not letting me take in post.
Hey,
we've more than enjoyed having you on our show. It's been great.
You're all welcome to come in Wednesday nights, 9:00 Eastern, 8:00 Central for the pre-show, 7:00 Mountain, or 3. What is it?
9:30 we start the show.
9:30. Yeah, 9:30 is when we start. So 8:30
Standard.
Central is when we start Central Time. I simulcast all to those links there. So come join me. My primary places that I do stream, and there's people in there and chat, and folks who want to take and come in there and chat with us are going to be over in Kick, along with my top mod and partner there, Cecilia Adams. She's in Kick.
Okay.
She also moderates and helps me with Facebook. I stream there and X, but my big place that I stream to is Rumble and Kick.
Okay.
Live.
Great. All right.
So.
Yeah, and she did leave a short comment called, she said, fantabulous or los.
Fantabulos. Yeah.
And then Mark told me that she usually doesn't talk. She's the lurker.
Yeah,
she likes to lurk on the channel.
Okay.
Yeah, she's a moderator. If she sends a message, it's going to be straight to me. And if people get out of hand, I just let her do her thing. There's questions that need to be asked because I don't tolerate a lot of things, but I do allow links in my chats. I do allow people to promote, so long as I'm allowed to promote there. All right, when I come there. So
you are more than welcome to do that on here and on my Live with Roger Hansen thing too. Yeah. And I get on Discord, so if that's where I usually hang out. So if you
I have a hard time with Discord because it kind of messes with my mixing board system that I have right now.
That's because of the CIA.
Yeah, that too. Bastards and the NSA. I'm telling you, Gary's the worst out of all three of those guys.
Be careful, he gets Austin scared.
He's a bastard. I'm telling you.
Austin gets scared. Like Summer brought that stuff up about 3 weeks ago, and we're still getting over it because she scared us to death.
Yeah, but if they have a question, about stuff and things like that, especially like pictures and they send it over to David, untitled, right?
Yeah, hey, I know. It was.
Yeah, no that.
Hey, now I have to ask you two to behave. Come on now.
What?
What? That was your idea, Roger.
Yeah, I know it was.
It was John and I that got scared, scared everybody. Too.
I got scared too because I didn't want him to mysteriously disappear or nothing.
Yeah, I was like,
I know,
be careful.
I started
You can't unclose it.
Yeah, I'm not your typical paranormal type of interview.
Yeah, we know.
All right.
We gathered that.
Or UFO interview or cryptozoology interview, because even though I've seen things up front, I've had more experiences with other people that are in the career fields. Well, not career fields, but in the field doing it that have a little bit more or a lot more experience than me.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'll be I do have a show coming up Sunday night. That starts at 8:30 for the pre-show.
Okay.
All those links are good.
Okay.
And it's called the Censorship Sucks Roundtable Radio Show. It's a 2-hour long radio show, but everybody that goes to those links, to the video links, gets to hear all the behind the scenes, the pre-show, and the after show. So I'm not saying not to go to the radio stations. To listen to us. If you can only listen and not chat, that's the way to go. But if you can chat and you want to be part of it, you can jump into the chat there on the video platforms. Censorship Sucks talks about current events and gives commentary, as well as Sunday night is a comedy night because we have Willie's Worm Farm, and Willie's all in with. Willie has a worm farm in Waldo, Florida, and a cricket emporium in North Carolina someplace. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's great. Well, we're glad you were on here tonight. It was very interesting.
Yeah. But don't buy anything from Willie, all right? Because he'll even try to sell you pee jugs and his used underwear.
Okay. Well,
in the air. I've had to take him.
Oh my God!
Like,
we'll try to catch
and for his cryptocurrency, bits of coin that we pay him in, he's already tried to give out the password on air, and he goes, "Well, that's all right. Everybody who listens to us is trustworthy because you."
Yeah.
He even gave his hidden password, his hidden 15-word password to the representative of the King of Nigeria.
Mark,
right?
If you keep talking, they're not gonna come to your show, dude. I'm just saying, dude. It's like,
Matt, it's your in for tomorrow.
Well, I guess we should get off here since it's been 2 hours now. Gosh, it doesn't seem like it. So
2 hours is nothing. 3 is a problem.
Yeah.
3 is a problem.
3 is a problem.
No, I was referring to the people you're talking about. You don't want to scare them off, man.
No. Actually, we give him hell a lot about that, because he's bought into that New World Order thing, and Willie thinks it's a good thing because he's getting paid in bits of coin. All right, and he thinks we owe him $4.93 in bits of coin for every show that he's done with us, and we're like, no, Saul Good is the guy who has to pay you, not me. He's your producer.
That's great stuff.
Well, we're gonna get off of here because our partners are kind of like lonely, I think, now.
You want to pick this up? Do you want to go over to your other chat then, Roger? Because I'm still up and running a little bit.
Yeah,
it's a little too late, to take and do any packing or tearing stuff down at this point. So I am getting ready to move into another house soon. So
yeah, we can do it. Now, Summer, remember, I believe his host is supposed to be doing an interview with you next Saturday too, right? If I'm correct, isn't that it?
Saturday?
Host? Yeah, what's her name? Nancy.
Okay.
Oh, Nancy's coming on? Oh, yeah. Man, you're going to love Nancy Planetta. Oh, Nancy.
Okay.
I love her.
And David, the invitation's open to you too if you want to come on.
Okay, well, I appreciate it.
It's not you staying here and listening to us, David. I'm sure it's been exciting.
I'm
used
to this.
I'm a little down because John Bell didn't speak up more tonight.
Yeah, well, John left, but I spent 30 years talking about flying saucers up out of Canada with Rob McConnell on the X-Zone Radio. So 29 years. And then I got picked up with Mark here was it about 8 years ago, Mark?
Yeah, something 8 or 10 years ago or something like that.
So I was doing that, and then I got picked up with another with Lee's Family Spirit International, and I was a panelist talking about flying. Yeah.
Lee Triana Brown used to be produced by me, but now she's produced by someone else. But that's fine,
I think she's on iHeart now. Yeah, I think she got.
Well, and YouTube, not YouTube, but Roku. I was working on trying to get a Roku channel, and I'm like, nah, I don't want to do all that. That's a lot of work, and I don't like coding. That's like asking me to host a program or a show again. I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. I can do it, but I don't want to.
It's work, Mark. It's work.
Yeah, it's a 4-letter word.
It is a 4-letter word.
But in Spanish, it's 6. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Work is a 4-letter word in English, but in Spanish, it's 6.
Yeah, probably more than likely, yeah.
Trabaja. All right.
Well, we're going to sign off now. We appreciate you, so it's been really enjoyable. So we'll try to.
It was fun coming in with. Thank you for the invitation, Roger and everybody. And anytime that I'm available, it probably once I take and get the move in, I'll be able to do more. All right, once I'm settled in. Next weekend, I probably won't be able to do anything because that's my visitation weekend with my kiddos.
Sounds good.
Okay.
And it's quieter every other weekend.
Yeah. I know what that's like. Yeah.
And this also takes my mind off of, what are they doing? It's too quiet. 3 girls being quiet, not good.
Yeah.
Like 13-year-old all the way to 17-year-old. All right.
Yeah.
From my youngest 3 out of 7.
Okay, so I will end it for you here, and we'll meet up. We'll meet up in the other room real quick too, if you want to do something.
Yeah, give me about 5 minutes. I'm gonna top my coffee off, Roger. All right.
Okay.
All right.
All right. I will see you guys.
All you guys. Great talking to you.
Thanks again. And don't forget, make sure you get David in next time if he hasn't been on your show before.
Yeah.
He's got a great and interesting story.
I'd love him to join us any time for a whole interview.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Have a great weekend.
You too.
Yeah. Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.
Yeah.
And